The Gallipoli campaign, often referred to as the Forgotten Front of World War I, is a story of bold ambition, strategic missteps, and enduring human resilience. It's a tale that forged the identities of nations like Australia, New Zealand, and Turkey, and left a lasting imprint on the global history of the 20th century. Today, we'll journey back to the rugged cliffs and narrow beaches of Gallipoli to uncover the incredible story of this ill-fated campaign and explore its far-reaching consequences. Buckle up, because this is a saga of courage, tragedy, and transformation. To understand Gallipoli, we must first grasp the broader strategic landscape of 1915. By then, World War I had devolved into a grim stalemate on the Western Front. The trenches stretched from the North Sea to the Swiss border, and neither side could gain a decisive advantage. Looking for a way to break the deadlock, the Allies turned their gaze to the east. The Ottoman Empire, often described as the sick man of Europe, had recently joined the Central Powers. Britain and France saw an opportunity to strike a blow against this ancient empire, force its withdrawal from the war, and open a supply route to Russia through the Dardanelles Strait. The plan was audacious. By capturing the Gallipoli Peninsula, the Allies aimed to control the Dardanelles, march on the Ottoman capital of Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul, and cripple the Ottoman war effort. But such ambition demanded flawless execution, and as history would prove, the campaign was anything but flawless. The first phase began in February 1915 with a naval assault. British and French warships attempted to bombard their way through the Dardanelles. However, the Ottomans, guided by their German advisors, had turned the strait into a death trap. Mines hidden beneath the water's surface, shore-based artillery and mobile gun emplacements turned the Allied fleet into easy prey. Several ships were sunk, and the remaining vessels withdrew in disarray. This failure forced the Allies to consider a ground invasion, a decision that would embroil thousands of soldiers in a grueling and ultimately futile campaign. On April 25, 1915, the second phase began. Troops from Britain, France, Australia, New Zealand, and other Allied nations landed on the Gallipoli Peninsula. For the Australians and New Zealanders, this marked their first major engagement in the war. They landed at what is now known as ANZAC Cove, a narrow strip of beach hemmed in by steep cliffs. The terrain was brutal, and the Ottomans, under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal, later Ataturk, were prepared. The landings quickly turned into a nightmare. Soldiers disembarking from the boats faced relentless machine gun fire and shelling. Many never made it to the shore. Those who did found themselves pinned down, scrambling for cover among the rocks and dunes. The beach was no sanctuary. It became a killing field. Personal accounts from ANZAC soldiers vividly capture the chaos. One young Australian wrote in his diary, "The noise was deafening, rifles cracking, shells bursting, men shouting. We could barely hear ourselves think, let alone organize any sort of advance." For these men, Gallipoli was a baptism of fire, one that would leave scars both physical and psychological. But the horror wasn't limited to the ANZACs. On the Ottoman side, soldiers defending their homeland faced their own trials. Mustafa Kemal's leadership was instrumental. When his troops faltered under the weight of the Allied assault, he famously rallied them, declaring, "I do not order you to attack. I order you to die. In the time it takes us to die, new forces and commanders will arrive to take our place." This grim determination became the cornerstone of the Ottoman defense. The campaign soon devolved into a war of attrition. Trenches snaked across the hillsides, and soldiers endured months of brutal conditions. Disease was rampant. Dysentery, caused by unsanitary water and rotting supplies, claimed nearly as many lives as bullets. The heat of the Turkish summer was merciless, and the biting cold of winter offered no relief. For the men on both sides, survival became a day-to-day struggle. Despite numerous Allied offensives, including major battles at Lone Pine and the Neck, the campaign made little progress. Poor planning, inadequate supplies, and the underestimation of Ottoman resolve plagued the Allied effort. Soldiers were sent charging into machine gun nests, their bravery unmatched but their fate sealed. One of the most infamous episodes occurred at the Neck, where wave after wave of ANZAC troops were cut down within minutes. It was a massacre, yet it symbolized the extraordinary courage of those who fought. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new daily videos. For the Ottoman Empire, Gallipoli was a rare and significant victory. The successful defense of the peninsula bolstered morale in an empire otherwise weakened by years of decline. Mustafa Kemal's role in the campaign elevated him to national hero status, paving the way for his leadership in the Turkish War of Independence and the eventual founding of the Republic of Turkey. Gallipoli for Turkey is not merely a chapter in its military history, but a defining moment in its national identity. For Australia and New Zealand, the campaign had equally profound effects. Before Gallipoli, these nations were seen primarily as British colonies, but the sacrifices made by the ANZACs forged a new sense of national identity. The ANZAC spirit, defined by courage, mateship, and perseverance, became a cornerstone of their cultures. The 25th of April, ANZAC Day, is now a day of national remembrance, honoring not only those who fought at Gallipoli, but all who have served in their armed forces. For the soldiers who returned home, the scars of Gallipoli lingered. Some were physical, wounds that would never fully heal. Others were psychological. Today, we might recognize the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, but at the time, these men often suffered in silence. Their stories, however, have not been forgotten. Memoirs, letters, and diaries provide a haunting glimpse into their experiences, ensuring their voices continue to be heard. Globally, the impact of Gallipoli extended far beyond the immediate aftermath. The campaign was a harsh lesson in the limitations of military power and the dangers of overconfidence. For the Allies, it underscored the importance of effective planning and coordination, lessons that would shape later battles in the war. For Winston Churchill, one of the architects of the campaign, Gallipoli was a personal and political disaster. Forced to resign from his post as First Lord of the Admiralty, he later reflected on the campaign's failures and used those lessons to guide his leadership during World War II. Culturally, Gallipoli inspired a wealth of art, literature, and poetry. Australian and New Zealand writers like C.E.W. Bean documented the ANZAC experience, while Turkish folk songs and narratives celebrated the resilience of Ottoman soldiers. These works not only preserve the memory of the campaign, but also serve as a reminder of the human cost of war. Today, Gallipoli is a place of pilgrimage. Visitors from Australia, New Zealand, and Turkey walk the battlefields, visit the cemeteries, and reflect on the events that unfolded over a century ago. The words of Mustafa Kemal, written to the mothers of Allied soldiers, capture the spirit of reconciliation that now defines the site. Your sons are now lying in our bosom and are in peace. After having lost their lives on this land, they have become our sons as well. The Gallipoli campaign may have been a military failure, but its legacy is anything but. It shaped nations, forged identities, and left an enduring mark on the hearts of those it touched. It's a story of sacrifice, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of humanity in the face of unimaginable adversity. If this exploration of the Gallipoli campaign has intrigued you, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We bring you stories from history that inspire, teach, and sometimes break your heart. And remember, no matter how far back we look, there's always more to uncover. Stay curious,